You know, I had this epic revelation the other day. I looked in the mirror and said, today's the day. I'm finally going to be one of those morning people. You know, the ones who post sunrise yoga photos and drink green smoothies before most of us even hit snooze. I set my alarm with pure determination. I even laid out my workout clothes, meal prepped overnight oats, the whole 9 yards. I was practically a lifestyle influencer already. Then morning came. My alarm chirped its cheerful little tune, and I remember thinking, wow, this is actually happening. But then that sneaky little voice in my head whispered, hey, you know what would be even better? Just 5 more minutes. We all know what 5 more minutes really means, right? It's like when your friend says, I'm on my way, it could mean anything. In my case, it meant 3 hours. 3 hours. By the time I finally dragged myself out of bed, the sun was high enough to be judging me. But here's the thing about being an adult. We're really good at justifying things to ourselves. I looked at my phone, still hadn't had my coffee, and thought, well, technically speaking, from a purely scientific standpoint, it's still morning if I haven't had coffee yet, right? You see, this is the real adulting they don't teach you about in school. It's not about paying taxes or understanding mortgage rates. It's about the Olympic-level mental gymnastics we do to convince ourselves that we're totally crushing this whole being a responsible adult thing. But hey, maybe tomorrow will be different. Spoiler alert, it won't be, but that won't stop us from setting that alarm again with the same optimism of a golden retriever chasing its tail. You know what's absolutely wild? The psychological warfare that happens every time we step into a grocery store. I'll tell you about my latest adventure. It's a tale as old as time. So there I was, standing outside the store, making a solemn vow to myself. Today is different. I'm only buying the essentials. Just milk, bread, and eggs, that's it. I'm a responsible adult who makes smart decisions. I even made a list, can you believe it? I was so proud of myself. Then I walked through those automatic doors, and it's like entering a parallel universe where all logic and financial responsibility cease to exist. The store knows exactly what it's doing. They've got these signs everywhere. Buy one, get one half off. Special deal this week only. Limited time offer. And suddenly my brain starts doing this weird math where spending more actually saves money. Make it make sense. The real turning point was in the dips aisle. There I was, staring at the hummus section like I was solving a complex equation. Original hummus? Obviously need that. Oh, but roasted red pepper hummus sounds amazing. And what about the garlic one? And hold up, is that jalapeno lime? Before I knew it, I'm standing there with 4 different types of hummus, convincing myself that this is completely normal behavior. I'm going to have a hummus tasting party, I tell myself, knowing full well I live alone and Netflix is my only dinner guest. By the time I reached the checkout, my cart looked like I was preparing for a small festival rather than a regular week of groceries. I swear I could hear my wallet whimpering as the cashier kept scanning, and scanning, and scanning. That little number on the screen kept climbing higher and higher, and my inner voice went from, I'm an adult making responsible choices, to, maybe I can return some of these, but which hummus would I give up? The worst part? This isn't even a one-time thing, it's a cycle. Next week I'll be back there, making the same promises to myself, and probably discovering that I absolutely need 5 different types of cheese for my balanced diet. So here's my question. Are grocery stores actually retail spaces, or are they just elaborate psychological experiments designed to test our willpower? Because at this point, I'm pretty sure my grocery store is winning, and my wallet is definitely losing. Let me tell you about my journey into budgeting, which started like every other New Year's resolution, full of hope and Excel spreadsheets. You know that moment when you finally decide to become a real adult and track every single dollar? Yeah, that was me, sitting there with my fancy budget template, feeling like I was about to conquer the financial world. I had it all planned out: groceries, utilities, rent, everything neatly categorized. I even created a special column for miscellaneous expenses, thinking I'd barely use it. Oh, sweet summer child. So there I was, walking past this home goods store, minding my own business, when these gorgeous scented candles caught my eye. Now, let me tell you something about scented candles. They're not just candles, they're an experience. Before I knew what hit me, I was walking out with $80 worth of atmospheric enhancement. When I got home, I stared at my budget spreadsheet, trying to justify this purchase. It's self-care, I told myself. Mental health is important, right? These candles will create the perfect ambiance for meditation and productivity. The mental gymnastics I performed to rationalize this purchase deserved an Olympic medal. But here's the thing about budgeting apps and spreadsheets. They don't accept "but it smelled like lavender and happiness" as a valid category. So there it sat, in my spreadsheet, under the most honest category I could think of: uncategorized emotional damage. And you know what? This taught me something important about budgeting. It's not about being perfect or depriving yourself of everything that brings joy. It's about being honest with yourself and finding that sweet spot between responsibility and the occasional splurge that keeps you sane. Now, when I budget, I actually have a vibes category. Because sometimes you need that $80 candle, and that's okay. As long as you plan for it and don't convince yourself that every impulse purchase is self-care. The key is balance and maybe, just maybe, limiting yourself to one unnecessarily expensive candle per month. You know what's funny? The other day, my friend asked me that dreaded question we all hate. So, how's adulting going? And I had to laugh because, honestly, I was pretty proud of myself. I mean, yeah, I'm still eating cereal for dinner like I did in college, but here's the thing. I'm eating it on a proper plate now. Not straight from the box, not from a coffee mug, but a real ceramic plate. My friend just stared at me for a moment, trying to process if this actually counted as personal growth. And you know what I told them? I said, hey, it's evolution, baby. Because sometimes being an adult isn't about making dramatic changes. It's about those tiny steps forward, even if that step is just transferring your Captain Crunch from the box to actual dinnerware. We're all works in progress, and that's perfectly okay.
If this hits too close, you're one of us. Subscribe.